the realization of security solutions we seek for the Gulf of Guinea and the global shipping community. Thank you all.
The speech of the Honourable Minister of Transport was delivered by the Honourable Minister of State Transport, distinguished Bimishola Saraki. We thank you. She has no doubt in her mind that this conference will push the frontiers of ensuring global maritime security, especially along the Gulf of Guinea region. May I now invite, it'll seem that I have my sisters all over the place this morning, the representative of the Honourable Minister of Defence, Hajia Nura Batagarawa, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defence, to deliver her intervention.
Your Excellency, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, ably represented by the Minister of State Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Zubair Dada. Members of the Federal Executive Council here present, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister of Defense is unavoidably absent. He, however, sends his apologies and wishes you successful deliberations. His remarks read thus: I'm greatly delighted at the opportunity of presenting this remark on the occasion of the Global Conference on Maritime Security. I offer my profound appreciation for your kind invitation and felicitate with the Minister of Transport, the Chief of the Naval Staff, the Director General of NIMASA, and indeed the nation's entire maritime sector on the occasion of this most auspicious dialogue. I commend the organizers, including their worthy partners from within and outside the country, for your thoughtfulness in convening the conference, and gladly join you to welcome the incredibly rich blend of attendees and guests to this international discourse. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to begin by reiterating that Africa's maritime domain remains strategic and extremely crucial to the development of its nations. Unfortunately, Africa's usage of the seas is still largely spoken of in potential terms, reflecting poorly the impressive progress of other sections of the world. The vast expanse of its waters, infamously typified by the unsavory reputation of its key region, the Gulf of Guinea, is persistently challenged by a myriad of threats. Some of the threats impinging on the regional security are piracy, sea robbery, drug and human trafficking, as well as the worrisome pipeline vandalism and crude oil theft. Others are illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, proliferation of small arms and light weapons, terrorism, and environmental degradation. Unarguably, these threats constitute serious impediments with adverse consequences on collective maritime governance and economic well-being of member nation states. Therefore, to state that no meaningful development can take place in these states in an atmosphere of insecurity is only for emphasis. As discomforting as these threats would appear, however, they are not insurmountable. Hence, the clarion call for the enthronement of constructive, proactive, sustainable, and holistic maritime security architecture. Achieving such structure would, however, remain a mirage against half-hearted efforts. Accordingly, Africa needs to be committed in embracing core attributes such as the elimination of sea blindness, sincerity of purpose, strength of character, and above all, the will of all member states and stakeholders to effectively cooperate and collaborate for enduring maritime security. Special guest of honor, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted in this regard to report that the African continent and its sub-regions are increasingly acting in affirmation of a full consciousness of this imperative, and this forum is auspicious for acknowledgement of their encouraging steps. Following the adoption of the Africa's Integrated Maritime Strategy 2050 in 2014, which relies essentially on the initiative and commitment of the regional economic communities, ECOWAS, like its counterparts of other sub-regions, created the sub-regional offshoot, the ECOWAS Integrated Maritime Strategy. In about 4 years of the implementation of the ECOWAS Integrated Maritime Strategy, multilateral zones of cooperation have been created and process of collaboration deepened through staging of maritime security dialogues, information sharing, combined exercises and training, integrated tactical communication, and even combined patrols and manning. Nigeria, particularly through its Navy, has been greatly instrumental to this attainment. Internally, government has consolidated this continental leap through the three-pronged approach of repositioning its maritime agencies and their processes, strengthening the Navy, and repackaging the legislative framework. Commendable as these endeavors might be, however, they are sadly, clearly inadequate. The conference, therefore, provides us yet another avenue as maritime stakeholders, in the Gulf of Guinea particularly, to reminisce on the imperatives of improving on our attainments and achievements. To this end, our collective focus should go beyond the usual rhetoric to clearly identify specific measures to prudently build capacity and sensibly commit it to answer our maritime security concerns on a sustainable basis. Against this backdrop, I'm confident that the theme of the conference, which is enhancing maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea, Together We Win, is very apt to guide a broad-based discourse. In the same vein, the topics to be discussed have been thoughtfully selected to agitate our minds not only on the kinetic solutions, but also the non-kinetic approaches, including appraisal of viable financial alternatives for shipping, shipbuilding, and repair capacity, marine insurance, manpower and human capacity development. Others are research and development and the application of technology, port development, modernization and infrastructural upgrade of the logistic down chain, all of which are indispensable to the optimization of maritime blessings and enhancing of maritime security. Against these declared expectations, this conference, to all intents and purposes, should therefore not pass as a mere talk shop. You would have to be frank and sincere in preferring solutions that are implementable in the immediate, short, and medium term. I urge you, therefore, to avail this opportunity to contribute as much as you can during the deliberations so that at the end we may all leave here with a cocktail of new ideas. It is my fervent belief that if this approach guides and shapes our interaction on this conference, the resolutions will be far-reaching towards instating viable options to tackle maritime security challenges in the Gulf of Guinea and indeed beyond. On this note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me once more commend this initiative and pledge the commitment of the Armed Forces of Nigeria to its outcomes. It is my hope that the post-conference activities will be similarly backed by the kind of resolve that yielded holding of this conference. Once again, thank you for inviting me and wish you successful deliberations.
The Permanent Secretary in the Defense Ministry, Haji Anura Batagarawa, representing the Minister of Defense. Your Excellency, representative of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I'd like to crave your indulgence to permit me to use 30 seconds, sir, to do a little bit of housekeeping. As we go forward, at some point, we'll be divided into various groups for the thematic sessions. I've been told to inform you that those sessions are quite similar. And so if you do go into the halls and the various sections, don't feel that you're losing out on anything because they're quite similar. And if the hall is full for what you want, please be directed to go wherever you're being asked to go because the other session, they're all interwoven. I'd like also to crave the indulgence of His Excellency to do a 15 seconds rush of recognitions here to show the range of those who have come here to listen to the work that is going on. The representative of the Chief of Army Staff is here. Major General Nyam is in this room with us. The Chief of Army Staff's representative, we thank you for coming. The representative of the GMD NNPC, Chief Operating Officer, Engineer Yemi Adetunji, is in the room with us. The Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Engineer Simon Wabote, is here with us. We have also the representative of the Deputy Senate President, Dame Easy Ann, Special Advisor on Maritime to the Senate President, is here with us this morning. We have the Managing Director, NIDAS, a subsidiary of NNPC, Mr. Lawal Shade, and also the Group General Manager, NNPC Shipping, Aisha Katagum. I see a couple of distinguished senators in the room, former governors in the room. Distinguished Danjuma Goje is here, I can see him. I can see also various other senators sitting down in the room, all distinguished personalities. I'd like to thank you for being here, and I welcome you most sincerely. Thank you very much, all of you, for staying the time. At this point, I'd like to invite to the podium the representative of His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari. This morning is represented by the Honorable Minister of State Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Ambassador Zubairu Dada.
The Honourable Ministers of Transportation and Defence, distinguished Senators here present, Honourable Members of the House of Representatives, the Chief of Naval Staff, other visiting Chiefs of Naval Staff and other senior defence and security officers, permanent secretaries, members of the diplomatic corps, and representatives of international organizations, the Secretary General IMO, the DG NIMASA, other distinguished participants, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. As the Master or the Director of Ceremonies has told you, I am here to represent His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, who is unavoidably absent this morning. He would have wished to be here with you, but for some very pressing state matters. He's therefore asked me to apologize to you and to read his address verbatim, and that I intend to do. And he says, on behalf of the government and the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I warmly welcome you to this first ever Global Maritime Security Conference. Stakeholders in the global maritime industry are gathered here today at a critical time to deliberate on issues of global maritime security. More importantly, we are confident that this conference will give birth to innovative solutions and offer new mechanisms and strategies that will deepen global commitment towards ensuring effective and efficient security in the Gulf of Guinea and other critical areas essential for world maritime trade. The discussions on the theme managing and securing our waters at this conference are not new, but the increase in threats to safe, secure shipping globally, however, heightened the focus on it, given the impact on global trade and the economic prosperity of our nations. With the world's waters accounting for over 80% of transportation requirements in the global trading supply chain network across the established international routes and trade lanes, the threats of piracy and armed robbery at sea are an issue of global concern. Sadly, the Gulf of Guinea today is at the epicenter of maritime security discussions globally, given the incidents recorded in the region. Available statistics, however, indicate that efforts to eradicate the menace by the government in the region are bearing dividends. For example, the IMB Piracy Reporting Center has recently reported, and I quote, a welcome and marked decrease in attacks in the Gulf of Guinea for the second quarter of 2019, particularly commending the Nigerian Navy for actively responding to reported incidents by dispatching patrol boats, unquote. The convening of this timely conference here in Nigeria is an indication that we will not relent in our efforts to rid our waters of the piracy's scourge. To succeed in our objective, a collective effort from all stakeholders represented here today is essential. I reiterate the need for a joint effort because security in the Gulf of Guinea is vital and central to global trade in view of the fact that many critical trade routes connecting the continent to the rest of the world run through this Gulf. Also, the Gulf of Guinea encompasses diverse geographical, geological, and rich cultural heritage, with many of its states endowed with vast oil and gas deposits critical in addressing global energy demands. More so, as the African continent forges ahead with Phase 2 negotiations for the creation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, safety and security of sea transportation are critical to seamless trade and effective economic integration. Our approach, therefore, towards the realization of maritime security in the region and other vital sea lanes is contingent on our collective effort and ability to put in place international, continental, regional, and national frameworks and resources in cooperation with critical stakeholders. It is expedient to highlight that the international treaties of maritime security provide robust mechanisms for cooperation amongst maritime nations in the fight and suppression of maritime crimes. While the continental and regional frameworks which draw inspiration from the international treaties on piracy and other maritime crimes, provide useful mechanisms for cooperation among member states to address security concerns in the Gulf of Guinea and the African continent, it is noteworthy to mention in this regard that the 2013 Declaration of Heads of State and Government of Central and West African States on maritime safety and security in their common maritime domain, the 2050 Africa Maritime Integrated Strategy, and ECOWAS Integrated Maritime Strategy represent pioneering frameworks for collaboration, cooperation, and shared information among member states. Many maritime states in the region have dedicated considerable attention in recent years to the development, drafting, and implementation of national and regional maritime strategies, Nigeria inclusive. I am pleased to mention that Nigeria has put in place a Suppression of Piracy and Other Maritime Offences Act, which I signed into law on the 24th of June 2019. The Act, in essence, seeks to give further credence to the relevant international treaties of the United Nations and International Maritime Organization ratified by Nigeria and the continental and regional treaties subscribed to on maritime safety and security. It is detailed and will provide the much needed legal and institutional framework for Nigeria to ensure safe and secure shipping in Nigerian waters. In addition to the Suppression of Piracy and Other Maritime Offences Act, this administration has also put in place an integrated national surveillance and waterways protection solution with command and control infrastructure. The deliverables from the project have bolstered Nigeria's maritime security architecture and increased monitoring and compliance enforcement within the Nigerian waters and the exclusive economic zone. The Nigerian Navy has also stepped up collaborative efforts with other maritime security agencies aimed at achieving a safe and secure maritime domain. Presently, we are working on a maritime transport plan and strategy, which, when completed, will provide a robust enabling framework for achieving Nigerian maritime objectives. More importantly, the maritime transport plan and strategy will foster public-private sector collaboration and inter-regional cooperation on maritime security across the continent. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this conference is an essential step in a continuing shift in strategic thinking about global maritime security, and will no doubt provide an opportunity for stakeholders here present to develop strategies to improve maritime safety and security globally, with an emphasis on the Gulf of Guinea region. I commend the Federal Ministry of Transportation, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, and the Nigerian Navy for their leading role in planning the conference on behalf of Nigeria. In conclusion, I charge us all to continue to work together towards the security of our waters and trade routes for our economic prosperity. On this note, I wish you fruitful deliberations and hereby declare the conference open. I thank you very much.
Indeed, Nigeria has taken the lead for this Global Maritime Security Conference, especially, as you heard from His Excellency the President's speech as delivered by His Excellency the Good Ambassador, Minister of State Foreign Affairs, because it is important that the Gulf of Guinea is well addressed, considering that Nigeria accounts for 65% of cargo generated from the region and about 65% of cargo coming into the region. Let us hear another round of applause for the chief host for this conference. You also heard that there is integrated national surveillance apparatus prepared by Nigeria to ensure that it boosts national maritime security, considering again that the Gulf of Guinea has continued to attract attention with 130 of 141 hostages taken in 2018 coming from that area. 13 of the 18 ships hijacked comes from the Gulf of Guinea, and 6 global hijackings have taken place there. 78 of 83 seafarers kidnapped in 2018 have also been from the Gulf of Guinea. There was a slight error when I introduced the gentleman who is holding forth for Nigeria, the Nigerian Content Development Office. The Executive Secretary is Mr. Simbi Wabute. I want to believe that I may have called him Simon, so my apologies. I also see the distinguished Senator Morrow. I also see, with my little eyes, the Presidential Advisor on Niger Delta Affairs, my friend, the very distinguished Senator. It's good to see you both. At this time, I'd like to call on Joyce to come and give housekeeping announcements. Permit me, Your Excellency, there would be photographs, and she would be giving us the order of photographs before we go to tea break. I am aware that the EU Commission is here, and I'm also aware that the Ambassador to Nigeria from Denmark is here, and the representatives of the United Nations bodies are also here. We have not taken you for granted, but if we did all the recognitions, we'll never carry on. So at this point, I'd like to invite Joyce to come and do housekeeping, after which I'd ask Mr. Honore Bingham to help also do a quick announcement of those housekeeping, even though I know you're wearing your headsets. So we'll keep it very short, so our distinguished personalities will be on their way to attend to state matters. I thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thematic sessions will hold in the Executive Hall and in Aso Hall. Executive Hall is out to the foyer to our left. Out to the foyer to our left. That's where the Executive Hall is. The Aso Hall is outside to our left. Outside to our left. Please be advised it is not at Taraba Hall, it is at the Aso Hall, way outside to our left. Members of the press, please be advised to meet us up at the Media Center upstairs. We are not allowed into the thematic sessions. We will just be up there in the Media Center. For the photos, please. Your Excellency, the representative of the President, please would like you to come up on stage with all members of the front seat from one end to the next. All members of the front seat. Your Excellency, the Minister, please, and all those seated in front. Protocol and security, please guide them up here. Thank you. We're being guided properly. Security, please advise, please guide. Please come up. Yes, please.
S'il vous plaît, il y a des annonces administratives. C'est-à-dire que nous allons maintenant nous diviser en 2 groupes de travail. Il y a une salle par la droite, ça c'est le hall exécutif. Une autre hall par la gauche, c'est Asso Hall. Vous êtes demandé de vous retrouver là-bas à votre meilleure convenance, quand nous aurons fini avec la photo de famille. Pour la photo de famille, les personnalités qui sont déjà en place doivent se retrouver autour du représentant de son Excellence, le Président de la République, le Président Buhari, pour la photo de famille. Pour les autres, nous vous leur demandons d'attendre des instructions supplémentaires. Merci.
Immediately after this shot, His Excellency the President will take pictures with all naval chiefs present. All naval chiefs present from around the world, please come together, stand by to my left, Please stand by to my left because you're ready for the next shot. Naval chiefs present. Sir.
Juste après cette photo de famille, les représentants des pays qui sont ici, qui sont les chefs d'état-major de la marine de leur pays, auront l'occasion d'avoir une photo de famille autour du représentant de son Excellence le Président de la République. Merci.
Your Excellency, sir, Mr. President, we crave your indulgence to please join the chiefs of the Navy here present. Just a moment, would arrange them in. There are quite a number of people still gathered here. All the naval chiefs.
Mais comme je l'ai dit, tous les représentants des pays, tous ceux qui ne sont pas intéressés par la photo de famille doivent aller prendre place, s'asseoir.
Those who have taken pictures, please kindly be seated. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ceux qui ont déjà fait la photo de famille doivent aller s'asseoir. Maintenant, c'est au tour des chefs d'état-major des marines nationales qui sont représentés ici, d'avoir une photo de famille avec monsieur le représentant du président de la République fédérale du Niger.
Only the visiting chiefs of the Navy are coming up right now. Thank you. Thank you. All chiefs, please. Thank you.
Tous les chefs d'état-major de la marine représentés ici, une photo de famille autour du représentant de son Excellence le Président de la République fédérale du Nigeria. Merci.
To continue the proceedings of the conference over the next 3 days, please join us on YouTube at Solve Television. Solve Television. Sierra Oscar Lima. Venus Echo. Solve Television. The tea breaks will be held right here. The tea break will be held right here in the room. We have various spots in the room. It will take only about 20 minutes for us to be refreshed and then disperse to our various thematic sessions.
Après cela, nous allons observer une pause café. Elle va durer 20 minutes. Et au terme de cette pause café, vous êtes priés d'aller dehors dans l'une des salles dont je vais donner la description pour la suite des travaux en groupe. Merci.
Secretary General Abuja MOU, Madam Fon Usoro, thank you so much for being here with us today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the session for the day is not over, just the opening ceremony is over. Tea break is holding right here in the room. There are sessions, there are segments, there are tables all around the room. Please do well to go to anyone closest to you. And we'll return to our various thematic sessions in 20 minutes. Members of the press, do well to converge at the press center upstairs.
Okay, we do have some announcements on the tea break, so I would like you to please pay attention very briefly. Thank you very much.
All right, so the tea breaks will happen within the hall, so please feel free to go to any one of the tables within the hall. Very important, so you'll see them all around. You'll have the hostesses as well. And then once you are finished tea break in another 20 minutes, then we can go out to the cinematic rooms as well, and they're located to the right. So the expo hall is located to the right once you exit the hall, and then ASO is located to the left once you exited the hall as well. Thank you so much.
La pause café est en cours. Vous pouvez vous rafraîchir soit à gauche, soit à droite. Vous n'avez pas besoin de sortir pour prendre votre café. Et au terme de cette pause de café, il faudra sortir pour les travaux de groupe. Soit que vous allez à droite dans le hall, ou bien à gauche dans l'autre hall qui s'appelle Asso Hall. Merci.
I want to put it on record that the Speaker of the House of Representatives was represented at this event, and the Senate President was also represented at this event. Unfortunately, we didn't get the names of their representation, but we know they were here, and we want to thank them for coming.
Nous voudrons vous dire, nous aimerions vous préciser que le président du Sénat de la République fédérale du Nigeria et le président de la Chambre des représentants avaient leurs représentants ici, mais ils sont venus un peu en retard, donc nous n'avons pas eu le temps de faire cette annonce. Nous présentons des excuses à cet effet. Merci.
And a fine of not more than 50 million naira, in addition to the restitution to the owner or the forfeiture to the federal government of Nigeria, whatever the person has obtained or gained from the commission.
Good day and welcome to Soft TV. My name is Atat Charles. I'm currently reaching you from the International Conference Center in Abuja, Nigeria at the Global Maritime Security Conference. Now, one of the important things is to see and discuss stakeholders with over 79 nationals in attendance and over 40 naval representatives from different countries, Togo, Ghana, and other countries. And one of the issues they're discussing is the way to prefer solutions to help safeguard our water bodies. Just a brief summary of the Gulf of Guinea. The Gulf of Guinea spans west and central regions of Africa, covering about 6,000 kilometers of coastline. It is one of the beehive of activities for transport and trade between Africa, Europe, and Asia. And one of the punchlines that have been discussed today is this is indeed the time to join forces against all potential threats to global prosperity, peace, stability, and this is order to make our water safe again. This was one of the statements made by the Director General of NIMASA, Dr. Dakuko Petersai, a convener of the conference. Another issue discussed is a way to prefer solutions for cybersecurity as results of a lot of attacks and a lot of security challenges faced by shipmen who are transporting trades from one state to another, and this in the long run has reduced the profit margin for business owners, thereby reducing the gross domestic product for different businesses. I'll keep you updated. Currently they're having the tea break, which after that they'll go into different thematic sessions, and then they'll come in for a summary conclusion on today's conference. We'll keep you updated as time goes on.
To send a report of the circumstances concerning each incident or offense,
okay.
The action and the measures taken.
So just another brief of Gulf of Guinea. The Gulf of Guinea generates estimated gross domestic product of 950 billion. Its market size of the Gulf of Guinea is estimated to have over 470 million customers, with 70% of Africa's oil production from Gulf of Guinea. Member states included are Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana, Mali, and other countries. The Gulf of Guinea holds about 5% of the world's total proven oil services and is estimated with export value of over 180.50 billion US dollars, while the Gulf of Guinea import value is estimated to be 105.70 billion. One of the challenges of the maritime security challenges is a threat that the sea poses to international trade, with this statistic showing that indeed there is a need for us to have a safer water bodies, not just for Africans but for member states, especially in ECOWAS. This will help reduce the rate of threats posed by traders transmuting either one commodity from one side to the other, and in the long run increase the gross domestic product of the African countries. Some of the threats recently identified during the conference is the issues of sea piracy, armed robbery at sea, human trafficking, smuggling of illicit and dangerous goods, kidnapping, terrorism, illegal as one of the most affected problems in the region, and cybersecurity. Indeed, at one of the thematic sessions that will be held in the 3-day conference here in Nigeria at the International Conference Center, Abuja, they will be discussing ways they can prefer solutions and collaborate with member states in order for them to reduce cyber attacks on ship vessels in the region. Another definition is that the maritime industry contributes and sustains both economic of both coastal and landmark countries like Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Benin, and Nigeria that are close to the seafront, and countries like Senegal, Guinea, and Liberia, and Republic of Congo that are landmarked countries. Decisively, one of the issues they are also discussing is a way to have policy harmonization and effective implementation through regional integration and cooperation as principal method for delivering effective and efficient security in the region. We'll keep you updated as activities go on. Thank you. My name is Atachos, and this is Solve TV.
Training programs for enforcement officers. Law enforcement agencies may initiate, develop, or improve on training programs for their officers charged with the responsibility for the prevention, detention, investigation,
states in ensuring that the policies and frameworks that they have are implemented at both domestic levels to ensure that these activities are rendered success. We'll still keep you updated as we get more interviews and talk to more persons in the conference.
That the institutions created by the African Union and our various regional blocks, be them ECOWAS and ECOWAS, are made operational and are functioning optimally. We are building a lot of interagency collaboration so that all actors in Nigeria beyond the joint responsibility of enforcing the cabotage law. We have also entered into a memorandum of understanding where we agree that we're going to do 4 things. One is common classification of vessels. The second is the fact that we are going to do long-term projection of human capacity needed in the industry, skills needed so that we will invest in building such skills. We're also going to do long-term forecast of the kind of vessels that will be needed in the industry over a 5-year period so that we can help the local players build capacity to acquire those vessels and trade within our coastal waters. Of course, the final of the thing we're doing is to help local players access funds and become competitive and be competitive in the industry. So we're doing a number of things together. We're doing a lot of initiatives together, working very closely with Nigerian Content Development Monitoring Board.
Thank you very much indeed for your comments. I'm not sure if we have any other questions.
No, I think we had a good overview. Again, congrats for this amazing conference and for all the effort. It seems like every single year NIMASA is doing more and is getting better. So,
Thank you very much. We've got no option. Let's just
keep up
get
the good
better.
work.
Thank you very much.
We're very happy to hear this and to follow up.
Yes.
You know, NIMASA.
So we're going to run more interviews.